This time the quick speed shot, we're working on the old C10 truck again. We're putting the heater controls in, the box, I got some other stuff going on. Oh yeah, we're also taking the cab off the truck out in the driveway. With the tractor, do I drop it and spoil it or wreck everything? You're going to have to wait and find out. It's at the end of the video. But first, we're going to pull a bunch of crap off that truck, clean it up. We got mouse nest issues, big time on the heater. That's a whole another thing. We got to fix that. But eventually we'll get it ready, put it in here. It looks good. You're going to want to stick around the whole thing. Man, it looks mint under there now. And we're going to work on the gauges and do some other things. C10 day again today. This thing's getting closer. I'm getting excited. We're almost ready to think about putting an engine and transmission in it. That's going to be really awesome. So let's start working on the old C10 truck. It's hot in here. Let's go. Guys, we're back here on the C10. Last time I gutted out the cab on the parts truck, we took the heater box out and took it apart, found it was full of mouse nests. Yikes, mice destroy everything. So I've been slowly cleaning it off camera I should say. I've got the box all torn apart here, the plastic, I got it off. I've cleaned the inside, I scrubbed it all like bleach and water and got all the mouse crap and pee and stuff out of the metal. I just blew some paint in it. This is the mid portion, or the front portion, that goes up to the defrosters and then down to the floor. As you can see, these are open, the vents. There's a plastic little vent that goes on here, but then these other ones are open, and that hole in the end is open, and mice can easily get up in there. So we're going to weld some expanded metal, just tack weld it up inside this to cover all these holes up and seal that guy up. They can't get down through the dash because the dash has got plastic inserts, and they can get in the squirrel cage, which I've cleaned up here. This is fiberglass. And there's a metal panel that goes here. The mouse nest was right here behind the heater core and by this blend door. And that rotted the piece of metal out. We're going to fix up some of that. The squirrel cage I thought was sealed up to the firewall. And then I had the motor out and I was painting it up. And I looked at it. Look at that. Those little buggers ate right through the squirrel cage fan. Look at that. They chewed through to get a hole to get through. So that means now we've got to put screen in the squirrel cage motor hole because the mice can get up into the cowl here or down through the cowl. Then they can come through this hole where the blower motor goes out here and then get into the heater box and get into the truck. So I think the squirrel cage doesn't stick through this hole. It's on the other side of it. So I think I can cut a piece of metal and tack weld a piece of screen over this on the inside. So that'll keep them if they come through the squirrel cage, or actually this hole, they can't get from this hole into the squirrel cage to eat through it to get into the blend door for the heater, what do you call it, the heater core. So I've got the box all apart. The plastic unit here, I cleaned this all out as well. This bolts onto the firewall, and this is what the heater core blows through. There's your resistor for the fan control, for the low, medium, high in the fan. Actually, if you get mice nests in the heater box, that fan, it's a coil and it gets hot. If there's a mouse nest in it, it can catch on fire. Ask me how I know. I went to buy my old truck back from my buddy, and he had it running, and it caught on fire because of a mouse in the heater box and burned the whole under the hood and inside of the truck up real bad. I was able to get it for parts, but it ruined the truck because a mouse was in the heater box and it caught on fire. And he almost didn't get it out and almost lost his pole barn because it was sitting next to it, and it was really bad. Anyways, so this guy is ready to go back here on the firewall. I fixed the one stud here that's got these studs in place. I used the carriage bolt and a little bracket to fix that, but I cleaned the gasket up. This had a bunch of rust stuck to it from the other truck when the mouse pee had made rust on the firewall. I think I'm going to take a little bit of grease. We're just going to put a tiny little bit of grease here to make like an extra seal. This is like foamy rubber. Or maybe I won't put grease on it. Maybe I'll put silicone on it. That might be better. Not RTV, but I've got this silicone that stays wet. I've got this silicone lubricant SL5. I don't know what it is. I think my dad had it from working at Xerox fixing coffee machines, maybe. It's just pure like silicone. I'm just going to put a little bit on the gasket here. This will make it not stick to the firewall, so it'll be easy to remove in the future, but it'll help seal, this gasket is pretty good, but it'll keep moisture, repel moisture by being silicone. It won't harden up. It'll just stay like this, kind of like loose. So we'll just go ahead and grease her on up. I could have used axle grease or something, but the silicone is waterproof, and it'll help the seal stick right to the firewall. And hopefully we'll never have mice in this truck if we mouse-proof this heater box. Not saying there won't be mice in the truck somewhere else, but at least they won't be able to get into the heater box and build a nest and ruin it and make it stink like mouse when you turn the heater on, like my 77 Ford truck. Same thing, I've had mice get in it. Actually, I had one die in the door and rot in the door in the summertime, which was fun. And then I've had them also in that truck get into the heater box, and actually I was able to see the nest. It was in one of the defroster tubes, and I was able to get it out. But mice are a freaking menace. They just can't leave you alone. They want to live, and everything you got that's nice, they want to ruin. They want to build a nest in it, they want to pee in it, and they want to destroy it. Let's stick this guy in the truck. It's got 3 self-tappers, and then these studs stick through for the outside heater box to hook on, and we'll install her right now. All right, this guy comes right in here. Like that, boom. Got it. Let's see. It's got these factory self-tappers, which are a little rusty, but it's okay. Brush touch them on the outside. A lot of people are building fancy C10s. They bypass all this. They sell kits to weld in the hole in the firewall and stuff. I'm using this truck like a truck, and I want to defrost for inclement weather. When I got to run the the heater and stuff. Not that I'm going to drive it in the winter, but if it's raining out, it's nice to have a defroster in your action. Those are little 7/16 sockets. Right here we got the tool. Just like Ghostbusters, we got the tools, we got the talent. Ernie Hudson. Self-tappers, I don't want to strip them out. So that guy's lightly in there. I'll do it by hand later, so that's good. The sheet metal then comes around here for the heater box, but we got this guy going. And also behind the camera, right in front of the camera here, you see this plug here, that black plug? That plugs into the heater controls, and the switch is broke. That goes to your fan speed switch, and it broke apart, or came apart. And I was going to put it back together, but it's missing the internal piece to make the contacts there. And it comes around over here onto the control for the blend door. Or I'm sorry, the run the heater. It's where is it? It's upside down, but wherever the heater fan switch is, it's on there. So this is broke. They sell this part. Unfortunately, I just put in an order for Summit Racing, and Summit's got them for like 15 bucks. And I'm going to have to do another order to order it. But you can change this guy out, so then we can use the factory fan switch, because this guy, whoever had that other truck, they went and spliced in, they put a toggle switch in just so they could turn the blower motor on. So we don't need to do that. We'll have full control of our action with the factory switch. So that's my plan. We're going to get some expanded metal. This is the center piece of the heater box. I haven't painted it yet because I washed it out last night. You can see all the rust in there, all that surface rust and stuff. That's from, it was bare metal from the factory on the inside, but all this where the paint's burned off it, that is all mouse pee that had eaten the inside of the metal apart. Luckily it didn't rust holes in it, but it was on its way. So I'm going to go ahead and rattle can some paint in this real fast. It is what it is, and just rattle, it was bare metal from the factory. That's how they sent them down the road, so something's better than nothing. We'll throw some paint in there, and then we're going to get, I can reinstall this guy. Okay, I found some metal screen to weld in this guy, which I did, which was tricky because the box was super thin and the metal's kind of heavy. But I got this screen, I just had it laying around. It's way overkill for, you know, keeping like the thickness of it, but it's all I had. It's pretty small. I'm pretty sure that's going to keep mice out. Like a baby mouse maybe could fit through there, but an adult mouse I doubt is going to squeeze through them holes, or else they'd have to try real hard to get through the holes, and then they're going to get cut on the jagged edges. But I welded up the end hole. I bent up a piece that burned off, but I bent it around, welded that up, and then welded the whole bottom in. So that guy's all sealed up. I'm going to blow some paint on it right now. I took that rusty middle section, or actually, yeah, middle section, and I found that it has some Eastwood rust encapsulator, so I rust encapsulated the inside of it with silver. I'm going to hit that with some black and paint that up, paint this up, and then we should be ready to put all the interior parts back together, minus the control unit, because I got to get that switch, and you got to have it out of the dash to change the switch on it. But we'll be able to put all the underhood stuff back in. Also, we'll put the instrument cluster in as soon as I get the speedometer cable over here. I bought some LED lights off, I'm not even sure who makes them, well, China does, but they were on Summit Racing, and they are little LEDs that are for the dash lights for this style, I don't know, 11194 or whatever the number of these things are here. They use these little holders, and these are LED, they'll be super bright. They won't burn out. All these other ones are old. Or, well, I'm sure some work, but it was like 28 bucks to get 10 of these. And these are just by regular lamps. You need 9 of them, I think. You're up to like 10 bucks. You're over 30 bucks just to buy regular lamps. So I bought this pack of 10 of these. We'll throw some LEDs in there. We'll check them out and see how they work. I'm switching this truck over to manual steering just because it's easier for me. And then I had a manual steering, which I believe is a pickup box. I talked about in the last video, but I was going to reuse the stock Pitman arm, but I think I'll change it just because, you know, steering, that's an original one, so we'll get a new one. So I got to pull that off. I got to find I think, 1 5/16" socket to get the nut off. I only had up to 1 1/4, so I'll go look for a socket for that. But then we can hook the steering back up. We're going to pull the cab off the truck in a minute with the tractor. And then we can pull the rest of the harness and stuff off the truck out in the driveway and put the rest of the wiring harness here, run it down the frame. Last video I talked about brakes. I'm going to replace this combination valve. It's missing the bracket that holds it to the booster. I ordered a brand new one. This one is cast iron. Original, but it's pretty scaly. The lines are scaly here, so I'm going to I ordered up a new one. It's going to be brass, come with new lines here, just be all brand new. Just, you always want to have new brakes and rebuilt steering on stuff. It's always important to be able to steer and stop. I like to live on the edge a lot of the stuff, you know, drive drunk, have fun, but it's always good to be able to steer and stop. That's a pro tip for staying alive. Alright, all the paint is drying on all those parts we just welded. Let's open up these lights, which are in some kind of weird anti-static freaking package that I can't seem to crack. Look at these guys. They're crazy. Man, they got a lot of LEDs on them. I hope they're not like super, super bright. Now all we gotta do is pull these little holes. Oops, don't. Oh, get out of there. Almost lost it. What am I doing? Pull these little guys out there. And I'm going to get a little dielectric grease because on my other old trucks, old plastic dashboards. Where's my dielectric grease now? I've lost it. Hold on a minute. I know it's here somewhere. Dielectric grease on stuff because all my other old trucks with the like circuit board dashboards like this, they all end up freaking lights working, lights don't working, they're glitchy, and I think it's dirty contacts and old broken down technology. So we're going to put a little dielectric grease right on there. That went in, and then I put a little dielectric grease on the holder. Oh, that one didn't have a lamp. That's the temp. It's the temp. Well, that one's blown. That's the brake light. So the brake light must have been on. The temp light didn't have one in it. And it looks like it never had one in it. The warning light for the temperature. But we're going to go ahead and throw one in it just because we can, because it came with a kit. I assume that this would have a light. The brake light, I can easily see that one's blown. See how it's black there? That's blown. And actually the emergency brake was down. The cable was all bust. So I gotta imagine that the light was on for quite a while. And it blew it. Alright, that's it. We changed all them out. I'm going to go ahead and put some dielectric grease here on the, this is the connector for the dash. Go ahead and grease that guy up. I'm going to show you the front of the instrument cluster here in a second. I think I talked about this in the previous video, but it's your typical C10 instrument cluster, usually the higher up ones. This is for a regular half-ton pickup, or 3/4 ton pickup. It's got the speedometer and stuff. But this is where the factory tack goes. Obviously, this truck doesn't have factory tack. Oil pressure gauge. I'm not sure what goes here. In this one, vacuum gauge or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Temperature gauge and then battery voltmeter. So this is just the standard, like, plain C10, K10 instrument cluster. The oil pressure gauge is mechanical, which is cool, but it uses a copper line off the engine, very small copper line, and I'm always worried about breaking mechanical oil pressure gauges and losing oil pressure. My friend Jack actually had one of the ones. You more got to worry about that with the plastic lines. He had one break the plastic line, and he didn't realize it, and puked all the oil out of the engine of his 53 olds, and it blew up the motor. He had actually had a 7350 4-bolt main Z28 motor in it, and it, boom, blew it up. So I've got the block. It needs the crank turned. It needs bearings and stuff. But it ruined that engine. He had to go with the crate engine to put in the car because that little plastic line broke. Now you can buy the copper lines. They're better, but they can fatigue and work hard, and they can also break. The thing to do, like race car stuff, is get AN fittings and put AN fittings in, then use a braided AN line, which is, you know, made for high pressure and made for long use, almost like a hydraulic line. I've run a AN line for oil pressure gauge on my Model A hot rod shop truck that's been on there for 19 years, and it's fine. And it was a used, like, braided line before that, and it's fine. So I'm not going to use the... I could switch this gauge over to AN. I guess I'm telling you right now I could do that. I think it's easier. To me, I'm going to buy some autometer because I've had good luck with autometer gauges. They're made in America. They're not like the Stuart Warner ones, like the Repops are made in Mexico, which are junk. The autometers are made in America. I'm going to buy the 2-pack aftermarket unit from them. I'm going to get electric oil pressure and electric temperature, and I'm going to mount it under the dash. And I'm going to get a sweeps that look similar to these, but we'll have an actual temperature gauge with numbers on it. This one's good for reference for, you know, in the middle, but doesn't tell you temperature. And then we'll have an extra oil pressure gauge with actual oil pressure on it. So I could cut these both out and put the gauges in this cluster. I mean, you could take this back panel off, I guess, and modify it and put the gauges in here, which maybe I'll even look into that for a second and see if I could do that. Never done this before. It's my first time C10ing. But I might be able to stick them right in the dash. I don't go on the forums much anymore and like look at stuff. I just look up like random information. So I'm sure that there's people saying, oh, you can do X, Y, and Z. I'm not aware of it because I just make it up as I go along. Kind of like back in the day. But I see this panel is removable. Oh, look at this. Look at that. It is removable. Huh. There's your oil pressure gauge right there. Well, ain't that a thing? So, in theory, you could punch these. Man, how do you get that out? Is that plastic? No, it's metal. You could cut those 2 holes out and then hang the gauges, make a panel that mounts in here and hang the gauges in there and put them right in the dashboard. Now that is something to think about. Do I need to disassemble this entire unit and do that? Let's see. It looks like, if you take all the screws out, the back comes off. And then you could drill those out and hang actual gauges right in the dashboard. I think I might do that. I think I might punch those out, order some gauges up, make a bracket to hold them. This is AC Delco, made in USA. That'd be cool. All right, we've come to the destruction portion of the video. I'm going to attempt to fork the cab off the frame. I've got all the bolts out, and it's free. Right now it's bound in there, but I got it going. I'm going to attempt to pick it up, get it back a little bit off the engine, and then carry it away. I think I need to strap from the bucket around to this side of the cab so it can't teeter-totter. And I'm going to get a ratchet strap out right now and do that. Just kind of hold it, and then we'll go from there. So you guys watch from over here. Is this going to work? I don't know. All right, you guys watch it. Here we go. Extensions are super handy, but I need a weight box now. This tractor is super front heavy and tippy. Now that we got, like that, I just hit the ground. It's just that easy. Come on now. Well, that was pretty easy. Not too bad at all. Like I said, I need a weight box in this tractor. It doesn't like to pick heavy stuff up. It's all tippy. That was probably about the limit of what we could do with the empty cab. It doesn't weigh that much, but it sticks it way out there. And I'm gonna cut it up into pieces so I can throw it on my strap trailer, but right now we're good here. Can boom, perfect. These clamp-on forks, like any type of forks for tractors. I wish I had the pin-on ones, but man, forks make life a lot easier. That was super simple, super simple. So this guy can chill out here for a couple days. I got to take a scrap run. I got an old dryer, table, some other junk here that I'm going to cut up and make a load on my trailer. I'll cut the A-pillars. I'll cut the roof off. I'll cut through the floor here. This thing will fold right up into like 4 pieces I can pick up by hand, because at the scrapyard I've got to dump it off by hand. So I'll cut it into manageable bits that I can get on my trailer and just dump it off my hand. But this guy is done. I don't need anything off it. The body mount bolts are all thin and crappy and rusty, and got everything else I need off it. So it's headed for the old C10 scrapyard in the sky. Well, here we go. Man, now we got a chassis to work with. I can't remember if I said in this video or the other video. I'm going to save the disc brake spindles and calipers, and the rotors, even though they're pretty pitted. They are disc brake spindles. These A-arms are junk. The coil springs are junk. They're all pitted, need ball joints. They're junk. They're not worth saving. I got my cast iron 3-speed. We're going to save the motor and tranny right together here. I love the 6-cylinder and the 3-speed on the column. It was super fun to drive. I mean, it rode down the road good. You know, 6 straight 6s are always a hot setup. I'm going to save this engine and transmission combo, like I said, for some kind of future project. It's freaking super awesome. And that's all I got to say about that for now. You know, it'd be really awesome. Put it in my 34 Ford 4-door sedan. Run a 250 with a 3-speed in that. I do have a small block Windsor to put in it. But the firewall is cut out, so I could run a 6-cylinder and it would be kind of cool. I don't know. Choices, that'd be kind of a... I don't know. We probably won't do that, but I'm going to save it and put it in something. Or I'll sell it, because it is a good running engine. So I'm going to pop the core support off. Now I can swap the rest of the wire harness off. I'm going to get some eyeballs on what needs to come off. I need my speedometer cable, which mounts to the cross member here. I need to undo that. Got a good glass pack here that's like, whoo, barely on there. No wonder things had exhaust leaks. But the old used to be red, now brown C10, she's all done, finished in the books. So I think that's where I'm going to end this one video today. It's Sunday night. I've got to get ready for work. I'm going to be working late all next week, so I'm not going to have a lot of time to work on this truck here. So I'm going to try to meander and move things around and get things how I wanted to go. Off camera, while the paint was drying and stuff, I put the heater box in, just put it back under the dash. I hooked up the one vent line, or the defroster line to the dash. I've got the other one, had mouse crap in it, so I washed it out with some bleach, and that's drying outside at this time. We got all our pedals in here. Like I said, we got the dash working and put the lights in it. There's a bug in my face. I'm gonna look up for some gauges to put in there. I've got to order the switch for here. This guy is painted and ready to go with our screen in there and the squirrel cage. I'm gonna order a heater core from Rock Auto. They're only like 38 bucks, so we'll get a new heater core. We'll throw that in there, and then we can put the heater box on the outside. So probably more off-camera stuff when I run the door down. I'm going to pull the power steering box off. I'm going to order a pitman arm for the manual box. Look at the manual box ready to install. The shaft and all the rag joints painted. Then I can zip tie the shifter linkage up out of the way. Eventually I'm going to pull the pin out of the shifter here, which is actually loose. And that guy will just ride. And we'll be ready to put the instrument cluster in as soon as I get the gauges figured out. I'll put the speedometer cable in. I hooked up the emergency brake. That actually works good. Everything else is kind of creeping along. Run the wiring harness down the frame. I'll get everything that's got to go off that frame ready to go. I got to pull all the stuff off the core support. I have a new core support. That one's rusted out. I got to pull the headlights off it and then transfer all the wires and just lay them on the frame here. Just a couple of bits and pieces, but we're ready to go. This thing is just about ready to accept an engine and transmission. I got to get a hold of my glass guy. I got to get him to order me a new windshield, and I've got the back window, and I got a new rubber for the back window, so I'm going to have him come over and put the glass in this truck. Oh, shoot. I was supposed to go to his house and his shop Saturday and ask him if he had time to do it. Damn it. I'll give him a call. Anyways, so I'll get a windshield coming. Throw some glass in this thing. That'll be good. Over here, oh, by the way, I'm doing this truck. I'm cloning a truck my dad had, and today is July 27th. It's the 9th anniversary of my dad passing away from prostate cancer in 2016. So that's also today. So I'm working on this truck because of him, and I got to work on his car, get that new engine in it, and so I can maybe drive that a couple times before the end of the year here. Running out of steam, running out of time. At work, I've got about a month. I work at a college, and the kids are coming back, and I got a whole bunch of crap I got to do. I'm working 12, 14 hours a day, every day there, and I've still got to put my roof on, and the year is going away. It's already, like I said, July 27th. It's hot. Things are happening, but we're trying to make it happen here. I got to get this truck, at least the cab forward, done so I can go get it inspected before the end of the year, or else the plates run out. The box will probably be on it just in black EDP coat. We'll probably have to paint the box next year or over the winter. I'm not sure how it's going to shake out. But we'll at least get the front of the truck running and driving. And we still need to lower the suspension too, which I have all the pieces. That'd just be like a 1 day thing, 1 or 2 day thing. Drop the front, drop the back. Got all the parts. Everything's new on here, so it'll come right apart real easy. So we'll drop the suspension, and then a couple more bits and pieces, and we'll be ready for action. So I'm going to shut it down for tonight. The bugs are coming out, and they're pissing me off. I got to shut the door. But we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. A sweaty one here. It's up to 82 degrees in the garage, and we're keeping plugging along on the old C10. Had the other old C10 is going away. And I'm going to go away. I need a beer. I'll see you guys next time. Bam. Laboring away, sweating away at the Quick Speed Shop.